Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to another Moralis tutorial video. My name is Vasily, I'm your Web3 instructor, and today we are going to check the endpoint getBlockByDate for the Moralis API. This endpoint basically gets the closest block given a date. So at the end we're going to have something like this. Here I have an input field for the address, so let's pick any address with a specific time. The default chain is Ethereum. You can choose from another EVM compatible blockchain, and let's click on get block. This returns the information of the latest block created close to this timestamp. If we select the same date but in another time, let's say 8 AM on the morning, on the same blockchain, if we click on get block, we got the information for that actual block, and we can use this with any timestamp. We get the hash of the block, we can get on a block explorer, the block number of course, and also the timestamp for that block. So if you want to learn how to accomplish this, keep watching because we are just getting started. Back to the API reference page, we discovered that we should provide two parameters. The chain we want to get information from, and also a date. But here we have something different. This is not a traditional date, and the reason is because the API needs the Unix date on milliseconds. So using this parameter here as reference, if we click on try it, we are going to get a JSON response like this one, on which we have the block, the date, the timestamp, the block timestamp, the hash, and a parent hash. And it seems we can get this response on several different programming languages. For today's demo, we are using React.js on the frontend and Django on the backend, so I'm going to keep on the Python tab, and let's copy this code. Here on my Django project, I have an empty script called services.py. Let's paste the information over here, and this script is really simple. We actually just need 14 lines of code, and we have to provide some parameters here. First of all, our API key. So if you don't have a Moralis account yet, this is the part of the video for you to hit pause, go to moralis.io, create your free account, and here on your admin panel, you are going to have access to your free API key. I'm going to copy mine. Back to the code, I'm going to paste it over here. And for now, let's provide the same date for the Ethereum blockchain. And as I told you, this date is on Unix format. So let's try this out. Here on my terminal, I'm going to run this script. First of all, be sure you have Moralis installed with pip install Moralis. I already have it, so Python services.py. And we get the exact same response as we did on the webpage. Of course, we would like to have different dates as inputs here, so we need to change this and convert it in something more useful to us. Basically, I'm going to transform this code into a function which is going to take the date and the chain as parameters. And with the magic of addition, we have that function ready, which is called getBlockByDate. And additionally, I have here my API key, but storing your API keys into your code is a security risk, especially if you're going to push your code to a code repo like GitHub. So let's transform this into an environment variable. Now I have my API key here on this .env file. You can just set up yours, and if you're going to push your code to a code repo, just don't forget to add this to your gitignore. With that said, this script is ready to be used. I'm going to copy the function name getBlockByDate, and on my project views, I'm going to import it. So from .services import that function. Here I have an empty function called getBlock, which is going to get the input parameters, the date and the chain from the frontend through this request variable here. So let's say date equals to request.get.getDate, the same from the chain, and that's it. Now we can use this getBlockByDate function. So let's copy this again. Let's say block equals to that function. Just to be cautious, we are not going to use positional arguments, but specify each one of them. So date equals to date and chain equals to chain. As we are using Python, this response over here comes as a Python dictionary, and the frontend is not capable to understand this. So let's also transform this into a JSON. So JSON block equal json.dumps.block, and now the only thing left is return that JSON block. This view is ready. The only thing left for the backend is go to the URLs and add this path. So let's copy this get block, go to URLs. So let's create a new path here, path getBlock, views.getBlock, and as we want to use relative paths on the frontend, let's also give it a name. And that was it for the backend. Actually, a really simple process, isn't it? For the frontend, the first thing we need is a proxy here on the package.json, which is going to point our Django server, as we are testing this locally, is localhost in the port 8000, and also we need to use Axios to connect to the backend. So if you don't have Axios, just don't forget to use an npm install Axios and you are ready to go. On the web page, these two input variables, the date and the chain, are related to these variables, date and params. And here I have a function called refresh block by date, which is using Axios to connect to the backend. So let's connect here to that endpoint, /getBlock, ? And as you know, we need to send the chain and the date. The autocompletion is good enough to understand what I want to accomplish, so let's give it a try. And here we have, the chain comes from these params, the default chain is Ethereum, and the date is going to come from this date value here. And by the way, if you don't know how to transform a JavaScript date into a Unix timestamp, the code is actually easy. We just have to use some simple math over here and we are ready to go. If everything goes well, after connecting to this endpoint, for now, I just want to have a console.log of that response. So console.log of the response.data. So let's give it this a try. Let's select any random date with a random hour for the Ethereum blockchain. Let's click on get block and we got the actual response here on JSON format. So the only thing left for us is to take this response and show it over here. So on the front end, instead of just using a console.log, let's use that setBlockByDate function. And over here, I have a new variable called renderedBlock, which is going to take that information, the most relevant ones, like the hash, the date, and the block number, and create a card using that information. Let's try this again. And boom, we have the information of that specific block for this timestamp. Exactly the same as I showed you at the beginning of the video. This was a really simple process, because again, we just needed a simple script with a small portion of code to get that information using the Moralis API. We did this really quickly and almost with no effort. How cool is that? And that was it for today's tutorial. Don't forget, all the code for this lesson is on the GitHub repo, so check out the link on the description. And as you are already here, click over here to subscribe to Moralis channel, turn on the notifications, and also check out more videos. Thanks for watching till the end, and see you on the next occasion.